Welcome, everybody. It's 1 o'clock. We'll give it just another minute or so to let folks trickle in, and we'll go ahead and get the ball rolling here. All righty. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us for another installment of our webinar series here. Today, we're going to be going over some underutilized parts of the Microsoft stack, and we're going to talk about the Teams live events and also Microsoft Stream. Before we get going, though, I want to introduce myself. My name is Kevin Meeker. I'm the Business Development Director at ASK. Certainly been enjoying sharing this information with you over the last couple of months and looking forward to continuing this throughout the rest of the summer. This is something that we plan on continuing probably perpetually, and at least in some iteration or another. I do want to go over a couple of housekeeping items here. We are recording this webinar. We will be posting this on our website, both in the video section and on our COVID resource page. So if you have coworkers, colleagues that you think might find this information useful, feel free. We will make sure we send out links to the webinar recording after this is over with. This is a live demo, so bear with me here. I will be popping around between browser window and my Teams client, my PowerPoint presentation. So I'm getting pretty comfortable with this, but we may have a technical difficulty or two, but we'll get through it. So if you'll be kind enough to bear with me. And certainly I'm going to be going over a lot of things here, but I think I've said this many times, at least once in every webinar, that the Microsoft stack is an incredibly powerful piece or incredibly powerful suite of software. It works very well together, but a lot of it comes down to your organization, how you use it, how you need to leverage it to make your organization more efficient and productive. There is not a manual written for how it can help your business be better or more efficient. It really comes down to how do you utilize the software suite that is within the Microsoft stack. So with that, we'll go ahead and jump into our agenda and get the ball rolling here. So first of all, we'll start off with live events. What are they and when to use them? And then we're going to go through the scheduling. We'll talk about producers and presenters as well as attendees. And then we'll discuss the various ways to share content amongst the producers and presenters. And then we'll dive into Microsoft Stream, show how to access it, what it is, what's stored where, and how to share that information, some of the information out of Microsoft Stream. So live events are certainly a very powerful tool. Especially in the work from home experiment we're in. You can bring a number of presenters together. They're a great tool, but they should be used for certain scenarios and certain circumstances. So let's start with, what are Teams live events? I'm not going to read all of this to you, but it's for distributing video and digital content to a large number of attendees that do not necessarily have any association with your business or your organization. You certainly can make a live event private for a board meeting or a all company meeting. And we'll get into that in the scheduling. But this is a way to bring people from disparate geographies together to present or share information. So as you see, I'm using this for a webinar. It's one of the primary examples they have. I really like the live Q&A. It is chat based, but at the same time, it does provide with some back and forth between the audience and the producers and presenters. There's a lot of nice recording features that come with this, where we can very easily post the video. So a live event should be used Well, let's go on. When to use a live event. Live events should be used when you don't need that back and forth voice communication. So if you're having a meeting with 2, 3, 4 staff members, or even yourself and a couple of clients, by all means, use the built-in Microsoft Teams meetings. You do not need to use a live event for that. Live events are mainly for more of a broadcast or passing on a piece of information where you don't need a lot of feedback back from your audience. Now, certainly the Q&A helps, a little bit of chat back and forth, but at the same time, if you're looking for true engagement with a small group, I would go with the Teams meeting. If you're looking for a larger group, or you need to bring in a production crew or use external devices, microphones, things of that nature, you can tie those all into the live event. Now, one key piece with a live event is the person scheduling that live event has to have an enterprise license, one of the E1, E3, or E5 licenses. I believe A3 and A5 also give you that capability. But for those of you who are on the more the business licensing, the Office 365 Business Premium or Business Standard, as they're Microsoft 365 Business Standard, as they're calling it now, cannot schedule a live event. So certainly you can be a producer or a presenter within somebody else's live event that is created by someone with an enterprise license, but the creator of the event does need to have one of those enterprise licenses. So if you need to use a live event, you don't have any enterprise licensing, get with whomever you get your licensing through, whether it's through the admin portal and you buy it direct from Microsoft, whether you come through a partner like ASK. Certainly we can work with you on the appropriate licensing that you'll need to be able to produce these live events. So one other side note, the standard Teams meeting is capped at 250 participants. And as we saw in the previous slide, we can have up to 10,000 attendees on a live event. So you certainly can spread your reach much more broadly with a live event than you can with a team meeting. So how does one schedule a live event? At this point, I'm going to go ahead and pop over to my Teams client, bring that over here. Most of us are familiar with the calendaring tool here in the Teams client, and you can see your calendar similar to your Outlook, and you've got your new meeting button. Well, this drop-down arrow allows us to schedule a live event instead of a new meeting. So we can title our live event, and then you would invite various folks who are going to present or produce. Now, these are people within your organization, more than likely, or your guest speaker or your guest presenter as part of your live event. You would bring these folks in. Now, a presenter can present their screen, can share content as well as audio. Producers have the ability to select which presenter screens are showing, as well as share their own content. So depending on the role that you need that person to fill, you'll either assign them as a producer or a presenter. So let's go ahead and just add my coworker Ed here. And I think I'll just need Ed as a presenter. So certainly within the scheduling tool here, you can come and obviously, as usual, set your dates and times. You can provide some information to the presenters and producers. This invite is not being sent out to the attendees. There's a separate link for that. We'll get to that here in a moment once we get this thing scheduled. Location bar would be any particular rooms within your building. For example, if you have your conference room that needs to be checked out, and that's where you're going to be housing it, that's what this location information is for. So we've got a test live event. I've got myself as a producer. We have Ed as a presenter. So then we go ahead and click next. There's more. So now we have our permissions. Do we only want specific people and or groups within our organization to join this live event? For example, if you wanted to use this as an HR training for a certain subset of your organization, you could certainly have your HR director schedule a live event, invite only that group that needed to be trained on that particular topic, and then all of the people within that group are invited. You can have this organizational wide. Anybody in your organization that can sign in with their Office 365, Microsoft 365 credentials will be able to watch. Or in the case of the way, honestly, I'm using a live event right now for this webinar, we have this one set as open to the public. There's no sign-in required. So anyone that gets a hold of the attendee link can join this and view the webinar or view the live event. So a few additional options down here. You have the ability to make the recording available to your attendees. You can actually turn on the closed captioning. and get a report of what attendees actually attended your live event, as well as turning on the Q&A within your live event. If you want to give your attendees access to support within your organization, you can put in the URL for your support organization, for your organization here. So if your attendee has a problem, they can email this or go here and get some assistance. So once we have all of our settings checked and the appropriate ones set up, and again, if we were going to use an external app or device, we'd need to add this here. Example, that conference room presentation suite, or the really nice microphone setup that you have for your broadcasts. That would be where you would apply the external app or device. So then we will go ahead and schedule a live event. Now it's going to send an invite out to the producers and presenters that we've indicated. And then it's going to provide us here with a link for our attendees. So if we click this, it will copy it to the clipboard, and then whatever marketing material or whatever material invites that you have for this event, you would then just drop this link into that invitation. So one of the downsides that I found with the live events are I cannot send out a invitation out of Teams that includes the attendee link. I have to do a special invitation. As you've probably noticed, when you get invitations for these, you have to go ahead and put them in your calendar. So that is something that I know is being worked on, but as of right now, you have to grab that attendee link. You do not want to give out the join meeting link, because that would bring somebody in as a producer or presenter, and you don't necessarily want a bunch of random people able to produce or present your content during your live event. So producers and presenters. So this is the live event window for a producer. So it gives us some nice ability to stage content. You can see all of your presenters listed here, and then you can see the sharing screen. If that presenter shares the screen, it shows up here down in the content. Then you can queue that content, and then when it's ready for that, when that presenter is ready to, you can click go live, which moves it over to the live window and provides that to your attendees. So it's a way for you as the producer to queue up the next piece of content while the existing presenter is presenting, so that you can very easily, smoothly transition from one topic or subject to another. Now you'll see in this photo a couple of other things. This live event has not started yet. You will see that we have pre-live up here. Our recording button is orange. The send live and start buttons are not lit. So once this start button is clicked, this will go to live in red, and this red button, this orange button will become red to indicate that you are currently recording. Now, presenters can share content, but they cannot control the cues and who's live and who's not. That is the job of the producer. So that's the big delineation that I've found between producers and presenters, is presenters are literally just there to present content. Producers are there to organize the content in a way to make it flow smoothly from one presenter to the other. So one big thing on sharing content, again, you can only share one window live at a time, so you'll have to bounce between different desktops as needed. Or like I do, drag and drop things in front of the desktop that you've shared. So there are a few little cumbersome things here. The biggest pro tip I can provide is test, practice, test, practice. Do not have your first live event be live to the public. Go through it with a select subset of staff members, friends, family, whomever you have available to you, to be able to work through the kinks and work through the issues. I'll be honest, I work in IT. I'm a fairly technical individual, and it probably took me 3 or 4 live events before I started getting comfortable with all of the various controls. So again, do yourselves a favor. Please, please, please test, practice these before you go live with this. One other little note here, you'll see up here the number of attendees that are currently in queue watching your live event or ready to watch the live event are listed here. So you can, as you see that number increment, you can kind of get an idea of, now I still got people pouring in. I probably ought to wait a minute or two. So it gives you some good ideas of what's going on, as well as the Q&A chat is here. You can click on that. It brings up an additional pane and allows for you to curate the Q&A, post the questions for everyone to see, and then respond to those questions either verbally or via text. So that is what a live event is in a nutshell, and a lot of the things you can do with it. Now, again, I've seen some really creative uses. I've seen some really complex uses. To be truthful, the vast majority of the use I've seen for live event is something like we're doing today, where we're trying to pass on information about a particular topic, or pass on content to folks in a manner that's easy for them to log in and view. And that's the nice thing about a live event is, you send out that attendee link, you have it set as a public live event, and anybody who gets a hold of that link can go ahead and jump on and view your content. So again, it depends on what you're presenting. That may be a very, very bad thing, depending on the type of content that you have. But again, be very careful with those permissions. Make sure you set them right when you create your live event, and then you won't have as much to worry about as far as the attendees go. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and move on to Microsoft Stream, because it does tie in fairly well with Teams meetings, and live events. So what is Microsoft Stream? The best way is this last sentence: consider Stream a private, internal, corporate YouTube. Basically, it's a place for you to take any video, whether it is a company produced video, a recording of a meeting for folks that weren't there, training information, anything like that, and put it in a place where anybody within your organization can access it based on permissions. So it's a great place to aid that collaboration, get those meetings and those things that folks missed. You can send out links right out of Microsoft Stream, so people can just click on the link, jump over to Microsoft Stream, and watch and consume that content. Couple of limitations. I wouldn't exactly really call it a limitation, but the maximum number of videos that can be housed by a single organization in Microsoft Stream is 500,000 videos, which is plenty of individual videos, but there is a storage limitation. Each tenant within the Office 365, Microsoft 365 environment gets 500 gig of stream storage, plus half a gig per licensed user. So for example, if you happen to have 100 licensed users in your organization, you would have 550 gig of video storage in Microsoft Stream before you'd start to fill it up and worry about, I got to get rid of some of this old stuff. Do I really need this, or do I need to buy more storage? You certainly can add on storage to Stream within your Microsoft tenant if necessary. So some of the things that can be stored in Stream: if you're in a regular Teams meeting and you record that meeting is automatically recorded to Microsoft Stream and available to you in Microsoft Stream. If you happen to use Teams for voice, you can record the phone calls and those also get placed in Stream. You can upload meetings or other company video content into Microsoft Stream for easy access for your staff. So some examples of that: onboarding videos, training videos. If you have all company meetings, depending on your shifts, and certain people just can't attend based on when they work, again, all of that can be pushed up. I've seen as complicated as a company building a SharePoint site for their HR and having onboarding videos embedded into that SharePoint site that their new staff members go to as part of their initial onboarding and training. That certainly is what Stream was designed for and is well within its capabilities. So you may be asking, okay, now Stream, where is it and how do I access it? Most of us don't have this little Stream icon sitting on our desktop. So I want to go over a couple of different ways. First off, probably the easiest way to do it is through portal.office.com. If you go to portal.office.com, log in, you have access to all of the Office apps that your license gives you access to. Now, depending on which ones you use, you may not have Stream in this quick and easy list. You may have to click on the All Apps button. But Microsoft Stream is here, and it will just open up Stream in another tab. Another nice piece that I've just recently discovered is within Microsoft Teams, you can actually add this 3 dots here, allows you to add additional apps, and you can add your Stream app here. Now, this only links you to your watch list, and I'll be honest, I have yet to populate my watch list yet, so I don't have anything in here. But for example, you could populate a new staff member with the HR onboarding watch list that goes over the various regulations and policies and procedures your organization has, and they come into their Teams, click Stream, and watch right through those videos. Very easy way to access those. So Once you're into portal.office.com and you've clicked on Stream, it'll take you to the welcome screen. You can actually create a live event here within Stream. Here's where you would upload, you can do the search, and then you can also certainly set up channels and groups. Now, those channels and groups will line up with the channels and groups that you have built for Microsoft Teams in the Office M365 portal. Up here, you also have some options where you can look at your content. So you can look at all of the videos that you have created in whatever way or shape or form. So I have some recorded meetings. I had a snafu early on in my webinar series where I was using a different piece of software and I was not able to get the recording. So I recreated the webinar doing a Teams meeting with myself and recording it and was able to upload it from there. So this is one of the earlier webinars that I did, and I actually ended up redoing it to be able to post it on our website because I didn't have the recording. So you can look at videos, you can again search by title, look at the various states, whether they're published or drafted, what privacy settings are set up, by dates, upload dates. So there's plenty of ways to sort. You can certainly look through your groups, your channels, various items here. So again, that's how you would get to an access stream. So one of the biggest limitations with Microsoft Stream that is currently in effect is right now you cannot share one of the videos that is stored in Microsoft Stream outside of your organization. To get access to a video, if you're not signed into Office, will require you to sign into your Office 365 M365 deployment with your credentials. If you send a link for Stream out to somebody who doesn't have credentials to your organization, they will not be able to watch that video. This is a known issue. It is something that is on Microsoft's roadmap, and that feature, a sharing feature for Microsoft Stream is currently slated for Q4 of 2020. Now, I've seen a lot of push over the last few weeks to accelerate that time frame because nobody wants to wait for Q4 to share things out of Stream, but that is what the roadmap, the current Microsoft roadmap is telling us. So last thing I want to kind of go over is organization of streams. You can see, some of my meetings, I don't have a whole lot of organizational tags on mine. So they can kind of get all over the place. So you need to be kind of careful as to where you're putting your videos, how you're storing and organizing your videos. Certainly channels are a great way if you're looking to organize by topic or objective. So if you've got that HR training, the onboarding channel, the channel for the CEO to post updated videos, the company video. You can have different channels for that and organize those videos into those channels, make it a little more easy to consume those as the staff member. Oh, hey, I'm looking for last week's video update from the CEO. Let me go to that channel. Oh yeah, here it is, most recent video, and then right there and very available. Again, one of the really nice pieces of Stream is it's part of the Microsoft 365 Office 365 stack. So it integrates very nicely with SharePoint Online. So you can embed those videos right into a SharePoint page on your intranet. So if you happen to already have like a HR onboarding process that includes a SharePoint page, you can then embed your onboarding videos or your training videos for new staff members right into that onboarding page, make it a nice, clean, easy experience for that new employee coming in. So there's lots and lots of different ways that you can leverage Stream. I think all of us with this, grand work from home experiment that we've been all living under for the last, 3 months or so, and doesn't seem to be letting up a whole lot anytime real soon. That video content, the video interaction is becoming far more important to us. And so leveraging Stream to be able to get those company messages out, to get some information out, to get that FaceTime with some of your staff that you may not engage with very often, it's a great tool, and it's something that I think a lot of people are underutilizing. Some folks don't even know it exists. So more than anything, I wanted to share, bring it up, make sure that people were aware of its existence and what it was there for, and then certainly leave it open for additional questions, comments regarding Stream. Please feel free to reach out to your IT department, us over at ASK. Our COVID Resource Center certainly has a ton of very good, very useful webinar videos on a number of topics. Microsoft does maintain that YouTube channel and document library. They've actually got a couple of really good videos on their YouTube channel regarding Stream and live events. So those would be great to consume. And they're still running that E1 licensing promotion to get that enterprise licensing. It's a free trial for 6 months. So that is still available and out there for folks. If you're still looking to dip your foot in the water, your toe in the water with the Microsoft stack and you just haven't made the leap yet, there's a way for you to get some experience under your belt without having to pay for it. So it's certainly available to you. As I said, I think last time, we've moved our webinar series to every 2 weeks. So 2 weeks from now, we'll be doing the next one, and it'll be also on some less utilized Microsoft products. We'll be going over bookings and find time. These are great tools, especially in the remote work environment that we're dealing with right now and trying to find and schedule times for meetings and find availability for folks. These are great tools to leverage. So hopefully you can join us Tuesday the 30th at 1 for Microsoft bookings and find time. So with that, I'll go ahead and open up the floor to questions, and I'll dive into my Q&A here and see what I've got here as far as questions. Okay, I am not seeing a single question in my Q&A panel currently. So I'm just going to go ahead and give it a minute or so here. But certainly, if questions come up on this topic or others regarding the Microsoft stack, certainly we're available. I try to make sure I clear my calendar for at least an hour or two after these webinars so I can be available to answer, specific questions surrounding, your use of what we've talked about, your specific business need, and what's the best way to achieve that. So again, be happy to take any calls or respond to any emails if people do have questions. Oh, thank you, Sue. I'm going to go ahead and publish that one. Sue just loves what we're seeing, so I appreciate that, and I'm just very glad that we're able to pass on good content and show people some of the things that they have available to them, but they just probably haven't utilized or certainly utilized to the full extent that it can be utilized for. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up. I want to thank everybody for attending, and remember, we got another one here 2 weeks on the 30th on Microsoft bookings and find time. So thanks again for attending, and again, available for questions, your specific questions throughout the afternoon. Thanks again.